Hello and welcome to Film Physicality. In this video, I'll be talking about the movies I watched in April of 2023. Let's get to it. So the first one I watched is The Chalk Line. This is from 2022, and it's also known as Jaula. It's a Spanish horror thriller directed by Ignacio Taitai, which I'm probably saying wrong, and this is his feature film directorial debut. After a couple finds a traumatized child of unknown origins, the two of them work together in an attempt to decipher the girl's strange behaviors to unlock her identity and dark past. So I just happened to stumble across this one, and it was a very nice surprise. I think it has a pretty unique and intriguing story. I give this one a 3 out of 5. The next one I watched is Megan. This is from 2022, and it's a horror comedy directed by Gerald Johnstone, who also directed Housebound. A robotics engineer at a toy company builds a lifelike doll that begins to take on a life of its own. So this is a very fun watch, although I think it had room to be a lot better. I usually don't mind a PG-13 horror, but I think this one could have benefited a lot more from an R rating. I give this one a 3.5 out of 5. I then watched Room. This is from 2015, and it's an A24 drama thriller directed by Lenny Abrahamson, who also co-directed the series Normal People. A little boy is held captive in a room with his mother since birth, and he has never known the world outside. I really liked this a lot more than I thought I would. I loved all the attention to smaller details that collectively make everything just feel very real. It's also a very emotional ride with great performances from Brie Larson and Jacob Tremblay. I give this one a 4.5 out of 5. I then watched Madhouse. This is from 1981, and it's a low-budget horror directed by Ovidio G. Asonitis, which I'm probably also saying wrong, which he also co-directed the movie Beyond the Door. A woman is pursued by her murderous, psychopathic twin sister in the days leading up to their birthday. This I would just call an okay low-budget horror. The low budget definitely shows, plus it has some dull moments as well. But it's interesting enough to watch with some originality to it. Plus I also like the mix of giallo and slasher. I give this one a 2.5 out of 5. I then watched Warrior. This is from 2011, and it's a martial arts drama directed by Gavin O'Connor, who also directed The Accountant, No Way Back, and Pride and Glory. The youngest son of an alcoholic former boxer returns home, where he's trained by his father for competition in a mixed martial arts tournament, a path that puts the fighter on a collision course with his estranged older brother. So this was a first-time watch for me, and I really don't know how I missed watching this for so long. The movie is just so good. It is pretty predictable and cliched, but that doesn't mean a thing when you're having so much fun with it for the whole 2 hours and a half. Which also doesn't even feel nearly as long, by the way. And the acting from everyone, especially Joel Edgerton and Tom Hardy, are also top-notch. I give this one a 4.5 out of 5. The next one is Phenomena. This is from 2023, and it's a Netflix original horror comedy directed by Carlos Theron, who I haven't seen anything else from. The many resources and skills of 3 middle-aged women investigating paranormal events are put to the test when their leader has an unpleasant encounter. So I was definitely not expecting the film to be as funny as it is. The first half especially is hilarious. However, it does go downhill on the third act when it tries to get more serious, dismissing the comedy completely, but also lacking the tension and I guess scare factor. I give this one a 3 out of 5. Then I watched none other than Terrifier 2. This is a horror movie that's of course well known within the horror community, and it's directed by Damien Leone, who also directed the first Terrifier. Resurrected by a sinister entity, Art the Clown returns to Mouse County to terrorize a teenage girl and her younger brother on Halloween night. So while this is not particularly great, it is a lot better than the first one. This has an actual story, and a lot of the acting is actually pretty good. There's definitely a lot of gore, but I don't find this to be particularly a scary movie, at least not for me. And I only say this because I know it's been branded as one of the scariest movies, although it is definitely a lot of fun. I give this one a 3.5 out of 5. I also watched Shock. This is from 1977, and it's an Italian horror thriller co-directed by Mario Bava and Lamberto Bava. A couple is terrorized in their new house, haunted by a vengeful ghost of the woman's former husband, who possesses her younger son. So I really love ghost stories, and it's nice to see an Italian ghost story instead of the usual giallo. Its biggest flaw is probably how dated all the effects look, and how a lot of the actions from the ghosts don't really make much sense. That aside though, it's a pretty solid horror with a few creepy scenes. I give this one a 3 out of 5. I then watched the Power Rangers Once and Always special. This is directed by Charlie Haskell, who has done other Power Rangers projects. After tragedy strikes, an unlikely young hero takes her rightful place among the Power Rangers to face off against the team's oldest arch nemesis. So I know this is more of a short and not really considered a movie, but this is just an awesome Power Rangers cheesy goodness, filled with crappy effects, plot holes, and relying heavily on nostalgia. Exactly how a Power Rangers reunion should be. I just had a lot of fun with it, but yeah, it's mostly based on nostalgia. And I give this a 4 out of 5. I then watched Eli. This is from 2019, and it's a Netflix original horror directed by Sharon Foy, who's I'm probably saying wrong, and he also directed Sinister 2. A boy becomes trapped in a haunted house while undergoing a mysterious doctor's miraculous treatment for a rare disease. So this starts out good. I really liked the ghost scenes near the beginning, which I think were done very well. It really went downhill after the second half though. And then I feel they tried too hard to make the plot twist not be predictable, that it made a lot of the rest of the film not make sense. I give this one a 2 out of 5. I then watched The Birds. This is from 1963, and it's a horror film directed by Alfred Hitchcock, who of course also directed Rear Window, Vertigo, and Psycho. A wealthy San Francisco socialite pursues a potential boyfriend to a small Northern California town that slowly takes a turn for the bizarre when birds of all kinds suddenly begin to attack people. So I expected a lot more from this one. It has some good suspense near the end, and I like the sound effects and decision to not use music. But for the most part, this is just very dull and boring. It wastes too much time on dramas that aren't very interesting or relevant. I give this one a 2.5 out of 5. The next I watched is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. This is from 2021, and it's a stop motion mixed with live action drama comedy directed by Dean Fleischer, who I just saw is also directing the new Lilo and Stitch live action movie. A 1-inch tall shell named Marcel lives with his grandmother Connie. When discovered by a guest amongst the clutters of his Airbnb, the short film he posts online brings Marcel millions of passionate fans and a new hope of reuniting with his long-lost family. So this is what I would call a simple film. It has no thrilling moments, no big plot twists, but yet it works. And it is very mesmerizing and visually stunning. And just overall a wholesome film. I give this one a 4 out of 5. The next I watched is Raging Bull. This is from 1980, and it's a drama based on a true story directed by Martin Scorsese, who of course also directed Taxi Driver, The Wolf of Wall Street, Shutter Island, and a lot more. This is the story of a middleweight boxer as he rises through the ranks to earn his first shot at the middleweight crown. He falls in love with a gorgeous girl from the Bronx, and the inability to express his feelings enters into the ring and eventually takes over his life. This has great performances from everyone, and even though the fighting is not the main focus, I really loved the editing during the fight sequences, which was done in a very unique way. The black and white surprisingly looks very good too, or at least it does on the 4K disc. I give this one a 4 out of 5. I then watched Bram Stoker's Dracula. This is from 1992, and it's a gothic horror movie directed by Francis Ford Coppola, who also directed the Godfather movies. A young lawyer is sent to Dracula's castle to finalize a land deal. But when the Count sees a photo of the lawyer's fiancée, the spitting image of his dead wife, he imprisons him and sets off to London to track her down. Gary Oldman, of course, gives a great performance on this as Dracula. I also really liked the gothic setting and atmosphere. But man, the pacing on this is horrible, or at least it was to me. A lot of the characters' action don't make much sense either. And surprisingly, Keanu Reeves was pretty bad on it too. He probably was a bad match for the role. I give this one a 2.5 out of 5. The next I watched is Marrowbone. This is from 2017, and it's a horror mystery directed by Sergio G. Sanchez, who also wrote the screenplay for The Orphanage. A young man and his 3 younger siblings are plagued by a sinister presence in the sprawling manor in which they live. So I saw that there's a bit of hate on this one, or at least that it wasn't received very well, but I just thought it was so good, and I don't understand the hate on it. The plot, the acting, the atmosphere, the tension, the twist, I just loved all of it. It also has a great cast, including Mia Goth, Anya Taylor-Joy, George McKay, and Charlie Heaton. I give this one a 4.5 out of 5. I then watched Babylon. This is from 2022, and it's a drama comedy directed by Damien Chazelle, who also directed Whiplash, La La Land, and First Man. Decadence, depravity, and outrageous excess lead to the rise and fall of several ambitious dreamers in 1920s Hollywood, as the industry begins to transition from silent pictures to the world of sound films. So this is very entertaining and didn't even feel as long as it is. It has very good pacing and of course great acting. I especially loved all the Tobey Maguire scenes, and I would have loved to see a lot more of that. I give this one a 4 out of 5. So that's it for the movies that I watched this month. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give me a like and a subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.